live. We are now live, and I'm about to go over to Purpose Professionals for all of you that like to come in super early, and which is not early today because it's 9 o'clock. Those that don't know me, my name is Letitia Nicole, and I speak life so that we all may have life more abundantly. And I want to thank you for joining us on the Speak Life Empowerment Series live webinar with our special guest tonight. Oh my God, you guys are in for a treat. Katrina Harrell, you are in for a treat. Her and I was just talking before we went live, and already I know just a little fever, a little something, but I'm sweating too because I believe that we was just on fire. For God. So I feel like, tonight is going to be absolutely amazing, and I want you all to have I tell you to get your handy dandy notebooks. I take a lot of notes with my phone because I'll be on Purpose Professionals. And while I'm talking, I'm about to go over to the other side now. I'm about to go over to Purpose Professionals. Then some of you are on here. Then I'm going straight to the Speak Life 40-day challenge. I'm going to bring you ladies that are not yet in, okay, and to the Speak Life prayer and Bible study, because I know this woman of God that's going to be speaking tonight, you need to hear this, and you need to hear these words. So I'm coming to you right now. Let me just go ahead and before we bring her on, because I don't need none of y'all yelling at me, because y'all know y'all like to fuss and say, you didn't remind me. Well, I am reminding you, and y'all can't say I didn't. Let me see. And then you got to catch the replay if you miss it. All right, Purpose Professionals, you are done right here. And I'm saying we are live. Okay. Ladies of the Speak Life Challenge. Now you guys, and it's just the main few that come in and you're just always early. I want to thank you. We are live. Just sent you guys another message. And last but certainly not least, is the Speak Life prayer and Bible study. And I have got in there, we are live. All right. And because we already know our sister Ty likes to, she said, y'all finna sip some lemonade. I need some lemonade. I'm mad I got water right here. Maybe I can turn this water to some lemonade. Boys, bring me some lemons. Good gracious. All right. One last thing, coming over to Purpose Professionals. God is good, y'all. I'm so serious. I'm ready. I wouldn't let anything stop me from being where I am right now. I feel like I'm where He wants me to be right now. I feel like sickness couldn't stop me. The enemy couldn't stop me. I am where I belong right now. I truly believe that. So, without further ado, I want to bring our sister, my prayer partner, warrior, because I know she's a praying woman, and I'm thankful to have her in my life. I'm thankful. I'm bringing her up here, and you guys know when she's talking, I'm going to go on mute because I'm going to be just like you, taking notes, taking the words that she put into the atmosphere and finding out how to make it applicable into my life, where I can speak life into my relationships, whether it's at the office or in my career, business, and my marriage, and everyday people I meet in my family. So you guys get ready. Go ahead and take out your pens and papers, and make sure you notate also on Purpose Professionals. You ready over there, Katrina?
I'm ready. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm in the coffee shop, guys. So I know it's some background noise, but bear with me. I'm gonna speak loud enough so everybody in here can hear. We'll get ready to come out. But thank you, Letitia, for being so gracious and giving me this opportunity to speak. You know, I have not spoken in any type of format for the past 2 or 3 years. So this is the first speaking opportunity I've had to share anything in a very significant amount of time. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to you. You know, you are always you've been like an angel to me. You know, even when we have our lapse of time when we don't speak, whenever we do reconnect, it's like you already know. I don't even have to go into it, but I thank God for you. And I just thank you. So we ain't gonna get to crying or nothing like that here, but you know what's up. So anyway, I'm glad to be here, and what I'm going to be sharing is nothing that I've taken any notes on. I have not prepared anything. Letitia told me that this particular subject matter is on relationships, speaking life into relationships in all aspects. So when she said that, I said, "Oh, I got a whole lot to talk about." But what I'm going to do is talk about it in form of just me telling my story. And if you're on purpose, purposeful, oh God, I forgot the Facebook group name. Purposeful Professionals. Yes, thank you. Sorry. And any of the other groups, please send Letitia some questions, and she can, let me know, and I'll answer them. And again, there's background noise, but I hope you can hear me well. So at any rate, I started my journey as an accountant and as a business owner. So I own a national, almost somewhat nationally recognized bookkeeping firm that we work with micro business owners all over the country, and it got a lot of accolades. I was, getting press in financial investments, and my business was doing well. I was featured in books and everything else. But and I started going out in the empowerment scene, doing a lot of coaching. I had a lot of clients in our circle of women business owners that were doing probably things that you're doing, starting a business or trying to grow your business. And I was speaking and coaching and doing all kinds of things and feeling as though I was living the purpose that God had for me. All the while, I was 350 pounds, or let's say 188 pounds overweight. I put it that way. So I was 188 pounds over what was healthy, considered healthy for me. At the exact same time, I was in a space that was not healthy for me emotionally. And what I mean by space, see, when we are in relationships, a lot of times it's very easy for us when we're interacting with other people, when things begin to go awry, we want to immediately say, I was in a bad relationship. I was in an abusive, relationship. Not that those things aren't necessary to identify, but we immediately want to put the energy and the focus on the other person or on the condition that we're in. So I could very easily say I was in a relationship that wasn't that great. I was in, I can say it any number of ways, but the reality of it was I was not in an emotional space that was sustainable for me. And I wish I could just stay right there and unpack that alone. But just to keep it going, if you write that one sentence down, that alone, meditating on that and allowing God to kind of speak to your heart, to what that kind of connects to you with, how that connects to you, can reveal a lot of things. But for me, I was in a space that wasn't emotionally sustainable, and as a result, I was very unhappy. I was unhappy with the uh, the way my effort in working. I was very unhappy with the fruit that I was producing from the work that I was doing. I was doing a whole lot of stuff. My business was successful. My coaching business was growing. I was making money. Um, my family we had purchased our first home. We were living in a wonderful, great neighborhood that was ideal for my children. But I was not feeling like I was doing anything that God had asked me to do. um, and I had to get out. I had to get out. How that showed up for me, the telltale sign that it was time for me to do something different, was the fact that my relationships around me were not working. It was the fact that my romantic partnership with my children's father just was not working. It was showing up in the relationship I had with my body. It wasn't working. I started to develop sleep apnea. I started developing pre-diabetes symptoms. Um, I was just bloated and just didn't feel good. So my relationship with my body, my relationship with my parents, my relationship with my romantic partner, my relationship with my work, and my relationship with myself was all kind of dwindling and going down. And I realized at some point something had to change. And that change for me came when one of my dear friends, and we were business partners at the same time. We decided to do a retreat. And I'm kind of telling this story in like little chunks. And once I get to the end, we can come back and get deeper. If that's okay, Tish. So I'm trying to give everything, and then we'll come back and really get deep in some parts. But my business partner and friend and I decided to put together a spiritual business retreat. And what we did was we invited 7 or 8 women to Jamaica with us. And on this retreat, we took women entrepreneurs and we took them on a spiritual journey. So we wanted to support them, hear me, we wanted to help them figure out how to interject more spirituality in their own businesses and to create lives and businesses that were authentic to who they believe themselves to be. Okay, this is what we were doing for them. And on this beautiful retreat in the mountains of Jamaica, a beautiful bed and breakfast resort. It was just awesome. I actually got free. I actually got delivered in that space. And I know it's loud, y'all. I actually got delivered in that space. And when I came back from Jamaica and came back to North Carolina where my family and I currently live, my whole life changed. At that moment, I looked at myself and said, it wasn't again 350 pounds, it was the fact that I was 188 pounds overweight. So it wasn't the number, it was the fact that I had packed on so much weight on myself. You following me? It wasn't the relationship wasn't working. It was the fact that I had allowed a lot of things in my life to happen that I did not address that had the end result of me being in a romantic relationship that did not feel fulfilling. It wasn't that the business wasn't a great business or wasn't making me feel or wasn't fruitful. It was because I was focusing on so many things and trying to do so much or do too much inside of this business that it wasn't working for me. At the end of the day, I wasn't feeling as though I was doing anything that made sense. So when I came back from Jamaica, my whole world looked different. My house looked different. The people inside the house looked different. The way I felt about my body was different. And I, at that moment, probably within 2 weeks of coming back from Jamaica, this was in 2013, I ended everything that I knew and that I thought was real. I put it to an end. And I don't focus on the individuals in the relationship. I honor and respect the gentleman that I spent a large part of my life with. So this is not about him at all. I would not even bring him into this. This was all about me. I looked at this and I realized that I wasn't honoring what I believe God really wanted for this relationship. It no longer was working in a way that could be, what's the word? It was no longer working in a way that made sense for where God was taking me. It was no longer working and made sense for the path that God was taking me. So I had to make the hard decision to let it go. At the exact same time, I made the hard decision to focus on my body. At the exact same time, I made the hard decision to end and close my businesses. At the exact same time, I decided that my children were going to have a different mother. I didn't know who this mom would be, but I knew that my kids had a good life, but that they deserved to have an excellent life that I felt God wanted for them. And so that was November 2013. And for that whole year of just being in limbo, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I made this decision. And for that whole year, I was literally in kind of this limbo stage where it was just my head was everywhere, but I knew I had made a decision. And I knew I had made a decision and didn't know what was going to happen as a result of this. And I was literally trusting God, still living in the house, still focusing on dieting, on losing weight, and trying to change my lifestyle, eating wise, all the while trying to navigate what's next. I didn't know what was next. And again, I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about the relationship with myself. And so by November 2014, so exactly 1 year later, I had to do something. I knew that I couldn't. I made this decision, and for a whole year, I sat there and said, God, okay, I'm going to commit to changing and being focused on.
In front of all of y'all. They pulled me over and
So I wanted to.
It's
I was
all
thinking.
right. Let me tell you something, Katrina. The words that you're saying, and I know some of you, and some of them are inboxing me. They're like, it's hard to hear her. You know, it's hard to hear her. But it's okay. Take your thing off, so I can tell you we're trying to talk. No, I'm just.
I know. I'm gonna talk louder. Can I talk louder?
You can talk louder.
I'm
And
sorry, y'all.
it's okay because I can hear a lot of things, so I'm writing it out whether they can hear or not. But Arena, thank you so much. Arena just told me, she said I'm on the webinar. Can't hardly hear her though, and she put like a little sad face.
Oh
So
my gosh, sorry.
yes, I'm sorry, I hear it. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I
It's
love
bad
that.
for me. Y'all couldn't see that. Only Katrina could see that.
Oh, okay. Only I saw that. Well, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all what just happened. Her husband came in and gave her a kiss. I love it.
Okay. So,
Okay.
so it's okay. So if you just talk just a little louder,
No problem.
and guess what? The best thing about communication, effective communication. Guess what? How about ladies in the back? I know you guys are having a great time, but you're a little loud. I'm on a live webinar.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm messing up the webinar.
No,
But you know what? I'll just talk louder. How about that? I'll talk louder to drown them out. But so just a 2-minute recap. I was just pretty much sharing how since 2013 I pretty much overhauled my life. And I closed down my business. I took inventory of myself physically and made a commitment that I was going to live the life that God created me to live. And if I could summarize everything I've said for the past 10 or 15 minutes in guess one phrase or one sentence, is that the most important relationship that I realized that mattered was the relationship with God and self. So I look and I noticed that all my other relationships were not fulfilling to me once I connected with the idea and realized that the point of all of this is to have relationship with God and self be the strongest relationship that I have. And so once I connected to that, and what helped me get there was a retreat that I said that I put on with my friend and my business partner. We took a trip to Jamaica to help other women. But that retreat eventually and ultimately ended up helping me realize that I wasn't living in my full truth. So fast forward to 2014, I was living in this kind of limbo state of I made the decision that I was going to focus my focus on God and myself. and still living in the home and still not really sure what was going to be next because I closed everything and I didn't have a relationship anymore, didn't know what I was going to do, but I was just still sitting there. And I stumbled across an opportunity to go join this organization called AmeriCorps. And AmeriCorps is like the Peace Corps, but for the states. So it's basically people who have expertise in different areas, typically college kids, but sometimes mid-level professionals as well. I went to AmeriCorps and decided I was going to volunteer my time, my knowledge, and my insight into a nonprofit organization. Um, I just did it on a whim. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea why I was pushing these buttons, and I did it. Fast forward, I ended up moving to 2 hours away, and leaving my kids. And I'm saying that kind of harshly, but that's ultimately what it was. I moved 2 hours away from my kids and my home, my car, my everything that I knew, my middle class, whatever suburban life. And I left it and I moved 2 hours away and I moved inside of a house that had been empty for a long time. I had the clothes on my back, an air mattress that had a hole in it. And when I say the clothes on my back, I mean, I had already lost like 80 pounds at that time. So the clothes that I had were already too big. So, and I didn't have any money and I couldn't afford to buy myself any clothes that fit. So I had too big clothes on my back, a car that was almost broken down. It couldn't reverse and it was my father's car. Because again, like I said, I left everything that was mine. I left it there. And I left my kids there too, in safety. They were in good hands, but they did not come with me. And I moved to this new town by myself with no friends, no one here, no resources to volunteer my time. Why? I don't know. All I knew was that, like I said before, that relationship that clicked in my mind, that the relationships that I spent so much time focusing on, the relationship with my partner, the relationship with my business, with my client, even with my kids and my parents, and the one that I was trying to have with myself, none of them really were working the way that I knew that they deserved and I desired for them to be working, because the relationship with God and God's self, the God that sent me and God himself was not strong. There was something broken. And the only thing I knew to do at that time, that I heard God say really clearly to me, was remove yourself. So I removed myself and I came here. This was January 2015. And so fast forward now, what were we in? April 2016, things are completely different and good. Things are good and completely different and better. But I tell this story just to kind of bring back to the point of talking about relationships. Um, whew, deep breath here. The relationship that we have with other people, um, a lot of times we want to blame other people for why we have strife, for why things are broken, for why things aren't working the way that we think, or for why we aren't moving and progressing the way that we should. A lot of individuals, from coaches to whomever, will talk about being more authentic or trying harder or not giving up. And I believe in all of those things. But one thing I know for sure is that when you don't have that authentic relationship with the God that is in you, nothing will work. And when I say these words, I'm not saying them in the space of um, it sounds good or I read it in the scripture. When you commit to that space of saying that, God, I fully surrender to you, I want my relationship with you to be the one that I focus purely on, I guarantee you that your life will be turned completely upside down. Upside down may mean different things for different people. For me, it meant completely cutting off everything that I knew and completely burning burning everything that I thought that I knew and reemerging as something completely different. For you, it may mean something else. I don't know what that may mean. It may mean switching the job. It may mean taking that chance to go back to school. It may mean applying for that position you know you don't all the way qualify for. It may mean finally approaching your husband or your wife and saying, you know what, let's go to marriage, marital counseling. It may mean taking your children out of school and putting and homeschooling them. When you fully commit to whatever that truth is, it's going to uproot your life. The question isn't, will it uproot your life or will it change? Of course it will. The question is, are you willing to make that decision? Are you willing to take that chance? Are you willing to make that sacrifice for what you truly believe in? I do have still many, many desires and dreams in my life. And this moment today, I know that the one desire that makes the most sense and that will ensure that all other desires come to pass is ensuring that I stay in this space of surrender, of complete surrender in my God, in my relationship with myself. Um, that's all I got right now, Letitia. That's all I got at this moment. I'm curious to know if anybody else has any questions or if you can hear me well or if you want to chime in and we can kind of.
Okay. Well, you guys that are here, and I know when you stop, I was going live and I went off live. So hopefully that you guys that are in Purpose Professionals, that was listening also to the live, I was going live on Facebook and live with the webinar. So we had a bunch of people in both places. But those of you that are here, if you have questions, please come over to Purpose Professionals and give your questions. I'm going over to the other side so I can see you guys. As a matter of fact, I'll use this. And I'll refresh the page. And I do want to thank all of you for communicating with me when they couldn't hear, or that last time that they could hear you, they was hearing you much better.
Oh, good.
All right, I'm coming over there to you ladies. All right, closed their business, made a change for her life. I'm also, I see a couple of folks who are asking to be in a group.
Oh, great. Yeah, closing my businesses changed my life. Yep, it really did. And the journey started in 2012. Like I said, I was over 100 and something pounds overweight, and I started having health issues. And my business was doing well, doing good, but I was struggling and striving. And I noticed I know that there's a difference between struggling in something and efforting in something. So like this past year, I'm efforting in a lot of things. It's meaning that it's not easy, but I'm pushing, right?
Right.
But before I was struggling in it, I was sacrificing and breaking apart myself in ways that was not sustainable. So when you're struggling through something, a lot of times it's breaking you down, breaking you apart. In the meantime, nothing is worth that. Okay, nothing is worth that unless it's something that's breaking you down to build you back up. And I guess you can say in some respect that is ultimately what happened. It did break me down to a certain degree to get me to a place of recognizing that things had to be changed. But I had to change that struggle. That's what had to stop. Yeah.
You do have a question.
Yes.
Erica Hicks from Canty, Texas wants to know, how did your kids handle it? She said, I'm not sure if I missed what was the outcome of your health now.
So I have, as of today, have released. I don't like to say lost because a friend of mine told me you say lost, you can find it. So I have released, meaning it ain't coming back. um, over 100 pounds over the past 2 years. So I've been doing this very slowly but consistently. I have not gained 8 pounds back. So I'm still losing, and it's a lifestyle thing. So I lose when I'm not even really, um, I'm not struggling through it. I'm kind of efforting, and I'm living it, and it's coming off. Some months it does nothing happens, but I don't trip. I just keep going. So my health is a thousand times better. I sleep better. I don't have the sleep apnea anymore. I don't have the tingles I was having in my body from pre-diabetes and all of that stuff. My cycle is regulated, and it wasn't before. I would go months and wouldn't have a cycle. Um, and ladies, that's not a good thing. You know, that's just not. Like I said, my body was indicating that there was so much out of line. My relationship with myself was reflecting everything else that was not right in my life. And as far as my children are concerned, my kids, this is how you know when it's a God thing. Because God will cover and protect you even when you make a decision that may seem like, what in the world am I doing? And you may think everything is going to fall and crumble and life will never be the same in a good way again, and that people are going to just, disown you. This is how you know it's a God thing. My kids are better now. And not because they have been without me, no, but because God has given me and them um, grace, wisdom, discernment, and understanding what this transition meant for us. My kids have always understood why mommy and daddy are no longer together. My kids, and I give God the glory in this. God has given me the words, the insight of knowing what to say to these children, the demeanor and how to conduct myself with their father, so that it isn't any discourse that they are being, impacted by in a damaging way. So my kids and I see my children every other weekend, and my kids have always known that mommy is working, she's helping, and she's helping people. And this is what she's always done since my daughter was born. She's 9, so she's always known me to be in business of helping people. She just knows that I'm doing it differently now. So my kids are wonderful. My kids are my heroes, and I adore them. And we will be reunited very soon. So, but and they're good, and their father is an incredible dad, incredible father. So my kids are great, and thank you for asking. Thank you for asking that.
Okay, Jean said she liked that. It's released. What I want to do now is, because I know time is running down, the next person asks the question, I'm going to send you this new bag,
Ooh.
life bag, and I'm also going to send one to our guest tonight. It says, "Speak life. I am blessed. I am rich. I am healed. I am set free. I speak life." And in that bag will be a book
Oh.
that you can learn how to speak life into your relationship as well. So I'm going over to Purpose Professionals, and this will be mailed out tomorrow as well.
Yay.
So this next person, and you see I'm refreshing the page.
I hope this is helpful to someone. I hope anything that I'm sharing is helpful or is helping somebody.
I believe your transparency, everything that you've done, it was not easy, but it was worth it. When you're being led by God, when God say do it, you go. He said when He tell you to go, there's no question. You
Yeah.
go,
Yep.
and so He's made provision for you. He's made provision for you.
I wanted to do the
Okay. We got
another question.
Michelle Kirkpatrick, amazing woman of God, said, "What are you expecting God to do for you today?"
For me today, God is already doing it, child. God has been doing it, and I wish we can stay here and talk. I wanted to do the whole juicy, tell the story about how bad my relationship was and how he didn't do this, child, and how he didn't do that. But I didn't. I don't want to do that. So there's no juicy gossip right here. What it is me saying that the only relationship that mattered was the one with me and God, and so I have been living in that space. Even though when I talked about how the journey has been the past year, I, when I say that I have never felt that I was being led wrong, I never felt that way. I only shared the struggle to just kind of illustrate, I guess, what making a decision to overhaul your life and completely turn it over could look like. But never at one time did I question God. So when you ask the question of what is God doing for me or what's happening, what is God, oh, he's been doing it and I'm living proof. And Letitia knows those details, and I'm living proof. When I didn't have anything on my back to wear, people were giving me clothing. When I came here to this city, I had to humble myself in a way that I had never humbled myself before, maybe as a child, but since being a professional woman, making my own money, doing my own thing, I came here as essentially a nobody, essentially one step above being homeless. And the way that people poured into me, the way that God used people as resources to give me everything that I needed, it's been demonstrative of what God is doing for me. And even now today, I can't even begin to tell you what God is doing for me, even in this moment. I'm sitting here in the coffee shop, but y'all don't even know what's going on. The pieces of the puzzle that I'm still trying to put together, that God is putting together. When I say I'm a walking testament of faith, what that looks like, trust me, there have been moments when I didn't know how I was going to pay a bill, and I had to call. I was calling churches, and I was calling organizations. This is a woman who was teaching people how to make $10,000 in a month on your business. A person who was teaching people how to grow your business and all this stuff, and how money and abundance, and teaching this stuff. Calling a church saying, "Hey, I have a water bill due. I don't know how I'm going to pay it. They're going to turn my water off." And God coming through literally in the nick of time to say, "I am your source." I am your source. And the resources showing up. So I can smile about that today. I can talk about the fact that my wardrobe and my closet are clothes that most of my friends here have given to me, and be cool with it. Like, and feel no shame. I'm the richest woman I know. I wrote that yesterday in my journal. Like, it hit me. I said, I'm the richest woman I know. I am the luckiest, most blessed woman I know. Even if I don't have a dime. And I've had money. I've had people write me a check for $10,000 and say, "Here, put this in your business. Make it grow." I've had clients drop, 2,500. I mean, I've had the resources. You understand what I'm saying? I've had it. And me pushing my car with my foot like Betty Rubble. My dad laughed about this because my car could not reverse. This was like a couple months ago, before I got my new car. Me pushing my car because I could not reverse. Oh God, because I could not reverse. I still felt like a rich woman because I knew I was living on God's terms. Do you understand what I'm saying? I knew that I was living on God's terms and not mine. My smile was big every day when I walked into this organization to help them, giving them services that I would charge people $5,000 for, $30,000 a year for. I was giving to these people for free.
Praise
And
God.
I was going home into a house where there were drug dealers and gangs and stuff all around me, eating oodles and noodles for dinner, posting it on Facebook like I'm eating, like filet mignon, because I bought me a 69-cent bag of green onions, chopped it up and put it on my oodles and noodles and made it seem like I was balling. But y'all didn't know that was a 20-cent bag of oodles and noodles. That's all I had. I would go to the gas station and put $2 in my gas tank so I can get to work every single day. And that's the only thing I could do. And I was going there every day, and people would be in there, coming in there, oh God, with their paychecks and complaining about all this and that. And I had nothing. Do you understand? I would take my clothes and sell them to the thrift store so I can get money, so I can buy something that fit or that didn't have holes in it. But every day I was smiling. I did not see my children for 2 weeks at a time, only talking to them on Skype and on the telephone. But every day I was smiling because I knew every single day that God was doing something for me. I was the richest woman that I knew, and I still am, because even without nothing in the material sense, I had everything in the spiritual sense. My mind is right, my spirit is right, my soul is right, and I focus. And when you ask me how to be a purpose professional, let me tell y'all something. What is it, 9:39? Let me tell you something. Being a purpose professional means being of service. If you are not in service in your life, if you're not in service to yourself, if you're not in service to God, no relationship you have, zero, no relationship you will have will ever prosper. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that no relationship you will have will prosper if you are not in service to the source of your creation. And
Yes.
I don't care how big your bank account is. I don't care how negative your bank account is. All of that stuff is nothing. Listen, whether you broke right now and you got negative 2 cents in your account, or if you got $2,000 in your account, neither of those scenarios matter. Let me tell you, because God is present regardless. And when you are really focusing on that relationship with God, when you take the time to say, you know what, my mind ain't right, and be honest with yourself. My spirit ain't right, and be real clear about that. My emotional state is just all jacked up, and be real about that. And you surrender all of that to God, and allow God to say, you know what? Thank you for surrendering this. This is what I'm going to do. When you do that, I guarantee you, it may not be easy. You may have times where you're going to have to humble yourself and get on your knees and ask for help in a way that you have never asked before. But I guarantee you would do it with a sense of peace in your heart, a sense of peace in your spirit, and knowing that God is guiding you and pushing you the direction that He wants to go. So I can tell you today that I told myself I would never work for another person in my life. I am now gainfully employed. I work for somebody. But check it out though. I work for an organization that created a position specifically for me.
Go
They
Lord.
said, we want you, Katrina, to work in this particular position to help the people in the community, because we know what you can do. We've seen what you have done, and we know you are a servant, and we know you can do this job. We can't do it, but we know you can. So we're going to create this position, this opportunity for you. God will put you before people of power. Do you not understand? When I was sitting there pushing my car back and forth with my foot, yes, that an organization called me. They picked the phone up and called me and said, we want you to be on the committee to help us bring opportunities to the city. And guess who's on the board of that committee? The mayor of this city. They don't know me from a can of paint, but they said, we see you, and we want you on this committee. On this committee. And the next day I'm calling trying to figure out how to get my water bill paid. But that's okay. That's all right, because today that's not the story. And I did both, and I responded to both with a smile on my face. With a smile on my face, because I knew God was ordering my steps all the way long. God showed up and brought me a car. I gotta pay the bill on it, but He brought me a car when I didn't have any income. I had zero income, and God said, that's okay, I'm gonna give you a car. I'm gonna give you a car anyway. God showed up and said, I'm gonna give you an apartment, a new home. I was living in a house on an acre, a beautiful home, and I'm living in an apartment again, but I'm happy. I'm joyful because I know I didn't do it. I know God is doing it. I tell people all the time that I feel like I'm 22 years old again, in terms of my life. I feel like a young woman. Like I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I'm kind of like looking at life saying, okay, God, what do you got for me? This is so different, and it's so new, and it's so right, and it's so real. So, in conclusion, what is God doing for me? Everything. I'm good, and I love the Lord for it. And I would tell anybody that's watching this now or even on the replay, if you take seriously, and this is not a decision you should take lightly, because what is going to be commanded on your life is something that you might not be ready for. So really be sure, if you know there's a pull and the calling on your life to do something, you are ready to make that commitment, know that that would be the most challenging, yet the most rewarding decision you will ever make in your life, to humbly and completely surrender and submit yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, even professionally, even your relationships, if you're willing to say, you know what, I'm off, I'm done, I'm done. God will do a word and a thing in you that you have never seen before. Never seen before. So will it be easy? No. Will you have the effort? Yes. But will you struggle? It may feel like struggle, but what's really happening is that you're efforting towards a goal. And you may not know what that goal is. God does. And you'll know the difference because you'll see things go this way. So when you struggle, it's going like this, right? But when you're efforting, it may go like this. It may be some bumps, but you're going this way. You can see the progression. You can see that, oh, okay, this worked. Oh, okay, this is working. The pieces are coming together. So that relationship with God is the most important relationship you can ever have in your life, and you should ever have. You didn't make yourself. So having a putting more emphasis on relationships that are outside of you, to me, makes absolutely no sense because you didn't make yourself, you didn't make those people. But there's a source that we happen to call God that created all of this. This earth and this planet has been here for billions of years. We ain't been here but for like what, 2 or 3 decades. Like we are like peons in the greater scheme of what God has created. So that source obviously is the relationship that needs to be the most important. Why am I here? What do you want me to do? All of this is a resource. I give my children to you. I give my dreams to you because you created all of this. So what do you want me to do with it? If you make that commitment, speak life to your relationships, speak life into surrendering your relationships. Speak life into surrendering and saying, here you go. Now what you gonna do? There's a peace that comes with surrendering. There's a peace that comes with just saying, I'm done. How am I doing? I'm excellent. God is good. I'm sitting in a coffee shop right now, loud. They probably listening to me, wondering what is she talking about. I'm speaking life into my relationship, and I'm good.
Praise God. This has been absolutely amazing. And I what I love about this platform is that as you were speaking, He showed me where to find the words. Because we like to back it up with the word. First,
Yes.
I started thinking about the rich man, that pretty much when Jesus was traveling and he asked him, I'm doing everything right. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm doing everything right. I can follow you. And when he told him, go sell all your possessions, and then, give away and this was a rich man, and he couldn't do it. He was sad. And that's when he said it's easy. What he said is easier for Campbell to get into a needle than a rich man to come into heaven. And I hope I'm saying that right. And then he took me to where understanding the power of faith over fear and worry.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again. Understanding the power of faith over fear and worry. And I'm going to post these scriptures, and I know you're going to have to leave in a minute, but I'm going to post these scriptures where he led me to Philippians 4:6-7, when he said, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, make with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. And then when you said humble, he said, 1 Peter 5:6-7, he said, humble yourself, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that may lift you up in due time, and cast all your anxiety with your cares upon him, because he cares. So as you were talking, God is downloading the scriptures and showing me the scriptures that he was given to you, so you can walk out on faith and you can cast your worry and your fear aside. He said, peace I leave with you. Yes. My peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives, but not let your heart be troubled, and do not be afraid. John 14:27. So these were the scriptures to back up all that. Yes. When you was able to drop everything and say, I will follow you.
Yes.
I will go with you.
Yes. I will go with you. Yep.
I will go with you. So I thank you for being so transparent. And I knew it was scriptures that backed up all that.
All of it. And I read every night, and I wish I would have quoted them at the time. But yes, everything that I said was backed by a specific scripture that I lived by and still do. I'm in the book of James, and I've been studying the book of James a lot this past couple weeks, focusing on remembering to be in that space of surrendership. So that's so important, y'all. It's not easy, y'all. To make that decision is what I mean.
It's
Wow.
not.
It's not.
It's not. And I thank you for being strong and courageous and not being afraid nor terrified because of them, meaning the naysayers.
Exactly.
For the
Yes.
Lord your God was with you and he saw you through and he never left you nor forsake you. And that's why you're here right now.
Exactly.
And that you're able to give this testimony to say, Lord, I'll be the testimony. I'll show my life. I'll tell about my life so you can get the glory. I'll tell them that I had clients that was giving me 10,000, 25,000. I had was living on an acre of land in a beautiful house. I'm a witness, y'all. The house is absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For her to leave everything. How many women can leave their children with their knowing their children?
I think about that sometimes and go, girl, you crazy. That you really love God, huh? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. That much. If you lead, I will follow. And I believe that. And I said, I'm gonna trust you. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give you my kids.
Jesus.
I'm gonna give you my children.
Jesus.
And them kids are good. They're good. They're good. God is good. But thank you for letting me have this time. I hope somebody got something out of this. I really, really do. If nothing else, to just really reaffirm your own relationship with God. If I just didn't remind you or confirm what you already knew, I'm good with that too. It just gives you an extra little pump in your step to say, all right, I'm not a saleswoman. I'm not a preacher. I don't got 10 points. I know how to do the speaking thing with the 12 topics and to make sure you take all of that stuff away. But right now, in my heart, what God has given me is just to share my story because it's real, y'all. It's people. I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna get out of here before they close this shop down. There are literally people out here in this country, in your backyard, next door to you, who really need what you have to offer, who really need what you have to offer, and who need the gifts and the talents that God has put specifically in you. And when you stutter step and you struggling with all of this stuff, Letitia's Speak Life platform is not just a slogan, a branding thing. It's real. Like when you speak life into yourself, what else is there to focus on, your attention on? When you are speaking, saying, God, this is what I want for myself. That my pastor said to us Sunday that there's a difference between requesting God to do something, commanding or demanding God to do something, versus asking God questions. So to me, speak life to me is like speaking into your life, but asking God those questions. What would you have me do?
Mm-hmm.
This is what this is what I feel, the desire of mine. What would you have me do? And listening and really being courageous enough to say, I'm going to do it. There's people that need what you have to offer on a small level, on a big level. Everybody's different. Not everyone is meant to do what Letitia's doing or what I'm doing or whatever. But you are given something unique and special. And if you're struggling with it, if you're battling these things, this is now the time, 9:53 p.m. on April 26, 2016. Now is the time to surrender it because you're battling and struggling with something that's not even yours to battle and struggle with. If you're in a job that you don't like, now is the time to say, God, what would you have me do? Because this job ain't making me happy. So clearly it can't be fulfilling what you have for me. So what would you have me do? I'm going to surrender this over to you and be willing to accept what God gives you. He may tell you to quit. He may tell you to go look for another job. He may tell you to go to your boss. He may tell you whatever it is. Be willing to say, okay, I'm going to do it. If you really feel like you are that connected to God and that you really want to live your purpose. So thank you, Tish. Thank you. I pray that somebody got something from this.
Well, please go over to Purpose Professionals and yeah, they were talking to you. I know they were hearing the things that you were saying, and we know that you have to go. The coffee shop is getting ready to go, but I just want to send this a special blessing your way because of your obedience to go. And just thank you for living transparent. If somebody else can see God working on your life, and a person that like you know, yeah, build you up, build you up, or tear you down to build you up. That God, you went with nothing, and now you had that He showed you you've always had something.
Yes.
Him,
Yes.
which is Him.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you,
You
and I
too.
love you so much,
I
Katrina.
love you back, Fish. You know it.
I do.
Yeah. Good night, y'all.
Night night. Mhm. Whew. And last but not least, I didn't forget, Michelle, you won your bag. So if you can inbox me your bag and your book, please send me your address and I'll be mailing it out tomorrow. I want to thank all of you for joining us not joining us tonight. I'm a little emotional because, like she said, I know her testimony, and this was absolutely amazing. And I love how God uses this platform for His glory, whether it's business or it's personal or whatever it is, because we wouldn't have none of it without Him. And so I give Him all glory and honor, which is His, for what He's doing through Speak Life and through the speakers. You guys be blessed and have a wonderful night. And we'll see you on tomorrow. Bye bye.